Okay, so what a piece of junk. This is a project that I'm going to play around with for the hell of it. Would kind of be nice on the quad. Use an old school chainsaw instead of one of our modern ones. Have a few of them lying around, but something old school like this. So it hasn't been ran in at least 10 years. It's stuck. I couldn't pull it if I want to. I can see the spring for the recoil. It's hard to see in the video here. The spring for the recoil is broken. And it's just covered in oil and gas. It was sitting inside the house basement for about 5 years, and then it got thrown outside into the shed. Last time it was used, my dad cut his finger off with it, and it hasn't been ran since. So it's kind of weird how the rope is, how everything broke on the recoil. So I'm not sure if someone was playing with it after that or not. But it's C-solid. As for the model number, there's some numbers on there. I just can't really see them yet. Can't really see exactly what that says, but I'll be able to match it up online, figure it out. First thing I'm going to do is drop it in the parts washer, kind of give it a little bit of a cleaning as is. I'll take off the bar first. And as I go along, I'll make a video, and hopefully once I clean it up, I'll see if it can run. So these were a pretty powerful engine at the time. They have the bottom of the crank. They have the actual reed valve on it. So it's not just a piston style port, I guess you can call it. So little air filter just pops out of there. So that's, I'm sure there was meant to be a cover over top this. You can see where it was threaded there. So it is missing a few parts, but it was a good chainsaw. It's chainsaw when it was new, I guess. So okay, I'll start the video again once I have it cleaned up a bit. Okay, got the bar off. That only took half a second. Figure out half the screws are loose on it. There is no gasoline left in it. But there is chain oil. You can see half the nuts and bolts on this are half undone. Like, holy crap, can you say shit maintenance for whoever used it last? Hint, hint, Dad. For some reason, it looks like almost motor oil falling out of it. And it's not red oil, like transmission fluid cutting oil. So there's motor oil, it looks like, dripping out of it. So it's either that or the gas just turned into that big of a slime and sludge. I'll know more once I get it cleaned up in the parts washer. I'm just going to be taking off this arm, and it's going in the parts washer hole. Then I'll be disassembling the rest of it. Sweet. I don't care if the fluid goes right into the engine because it's being torn apart tonight anyway. Look at it, right into the carb. Give it a nice drink of this stuff, eh? Man, is this gummy. So I'm going to let it soak for a while. I'm going to also wash out the gas tank, everything else. Again, it hasn't been running and it's seized up. So I'm guessing it's seized into recoil. I never tried to actually turn over the engine from the clutch side because the actual clutch is not seized. So I got to actually take off this cover here to check and see. So the fact that I think, if I remember right, my dad just gave it a good throw down from a tree or wherever after he cut his finger. Can't remember if he was on the ground or in a tree. So it might have took a pretty good drop. That could be why the case is split there. So the screws could be stripped. I'm not too sure yet. I'll know more once I start tearing it apart. Well, what's kind of interesting about this is I was thinking at the beginning that someone cut up a moose or something. Someone cut up something like that because, yeah, that is fur. But then I was looking at, that's not moose fur. And then I realized that is the starter rope. See if I can focus a bit better. It is actually spun right around the whole entire gear. If I could try to focus that. All the way around there. So the last pull that ever was pulled out of this thing, the engine started and then the recoil, jammed up. But the engine had to have stayed running to make that big of a mess inside there. So what's kind of funny is that's probably why he had it kicked back so hard, is maybe some of the rope caught one of these gears. Oh, that's a good fart. I'll try to edit that out of the video. Maybe not. But anyway, oh, that's a pretty bad one. But anyway, I just thought I'd show this. This rope is so brittle, like it's just in pieces. So, and of course that spring Looks like the spring snapped too. It's hard to say. Yeah, that's just the end piece of it. So I'll look at that all after. There's a chunk missing all the bottom of it here. There's multiple cracks I seen along the bottom here. The tip of the spark plug was broken off. Spark plug boot, and this tip it was just all loose on there. It's hard to see here, but I'll try to show you. You can see there's a crack along here. Pretty good crack all the way. Seen a few more cracks. I pulled this out of the tank, the fuel filter. Starting to get a little bit soft, but that's because of the cleaner. So it's kind of making it a bit soft. So I'm going to be taking off the gas tank in a few seconds. But the good thing is, motor turns over. Seems to have low compression, or it's kind of hard to say. No more. I don't want to spin it over till I clean it, because who knows what got sucked into it. The filter is always in place, but so yeah, it's just freaking dirt everywhere and very, very dirty, this thing. By the looks of it, it'll cost more than it's worth to try to get it going again. So I might just end up turning it into kind of a showpiece, sandblast it up, paint it up, just something that we could stick up on the wall with some of the other pictures maybe one day. Just, you know, kind of a wall hanger. Kind of a reminder for him why not to drink and cut trees. So, you know what I mean. Maybe I'll chrome it up or polish it up, you know what I mean, something like that. Just have to see. One more thing I thought I'd mention. Kill switch wire is non-existent. So how the hell were you shutting this thing off? Trying to stall something with a clutch? I guess put on the choke and see what happens? I guess that could be why the spark plug boot was falling off. So maybe from pulling the spark plug off to shut it off, hard to say. So, yes, it's looking to be more of a pain in the butt than what I want to do, but whatever. Okay, so the good news is it cleaned up fairly nice. Well, that's good news. Kind of neat here. But the bad news is it is fucked. Kind of hard to see. Just wait. That's how much play is in the crank. The cylinder right now is full of this shit. So up and down, I can't really show you on the camera, but even up and down like this, it has a lot of play and play. So it is pretty bad. I'll drain this out. There we go. My hands are starting to get a little bit dry from this shit, so yeah, but it's in my opinion, it is toast. So here, draining out there. So this thing will most likely never run again. Just draining it out here. So there's a lot of play in there somewhere. So I might tear it apart the rest of the way just for the hell of it. So again, I'm probably just going to shine up the cases, how I got the cases on the ground, paint them up, and again, it's going to be a wall hanger to go on top of the workbench, because we're trying to figure out what to use along the top walls there. So I want to put an antique bolt motor, antique chainsaw, and a few other devices. Yes, that was exactly what it sounded like. And basically decorate the garage with it. So it's a fairly decent sized carburetor on this thing. So it's funny how a small motor, big ass car. So too bad the motor's shot, because that'd be pretty kick-ass for an RC car, hey? So I'm guessing this is about 30, no, maybe not even 33 cc. This looks kind of like, could be closer to 24 cc's. It's hard to say. I might as well split the crankcase, see what the rest of it looks like just for the hell of it. By the looks of it, it doesn't even take bearings. It looks like it's just a sleeve type for the crank. So if that's the case, it's not worth fixing. I already looked on eBay and a few other places. Parts are almost impossible to find for it. So I'll end up being a wall hanger. Next time I'll start doing the videos when I decide what I want to do with it. For now, I'm just going to finish cleaning the parts. Hell, maybe I'll even split it today, whatever. Got the hiccups. So, okay. That's the end of this shitty video. And comment. Tell me if you think I should polish it up and kind of make it look like polished aluminum, or if I should just paint it factory colors. So again, I'm most likely not going to try to start it. I did have a plan to mount this in a vise and try to start it up in a vise just like this. But with that amount of crank play, I don't know. Seems like it's pretty much too far gone in my opinion. Don't need anything blowing up on me. Okay. Okay, one more thing I thought I'd put in this video here. If you're ever buying a used chainsaw and the guy doesn't give you the compression rating, one other thing you could do to kind of get an idea is pull off the muffler, which on a chainsaw normally is just one bolt. Of course, that one was, okay, yeah, it's coming off pretty easy. And if I can get it to stay up, and there'll be a couple screens, a couple center pieces you can check out. But the reason why I'm doing this is for that. You can actually see the piston. Yeah, this one here. There you go. So I know it's kind of hard for me to show you, but I know I'm everywhere with the camera. I just kind of wanted to make a note of that because, believe it or not, the same time that they were cutting the same tree, his buddy ended up bringing over his chainsaw, which lasted about, a little bit of time. Cut down half the tree after this happened because he had to finish cutting it because, my dad had his, hand or finger missing. And he actually ended up blowing up his chainsaw too. So 2 chainsaws the tree killed. You can see some of the porting on the side. So, get myself a little micro porting set and port the shit out of this thing and, see if I can make 3 horsepower out of it. So it would make a pretty kick-ass RC car engine. Just the way that everything's set up. Set perfectly for an RC car, hey? Get a big tune pipe on it, whatever. I do plan on making a pretty large 1/3 scale, 1/5 scale, most likely bigger the better, RC car soon. So that's going to probably be once the snow melts fully. So yeah, I don't want to spin that over too quick because I don't want to create a spark, whoosh. So I'm sure that the solvent I'm using is non-flammable, but of course I don't want to take a chance. And even if it did light, I'd just close the lid and probably burn the shit out of my nice, dry, crusty hands, as you can tell. So yes, so just thought I'd show the muffler part on the video because whenever I buy a weed whacker, chainsaw, pretty much anything, I like to be able to see the shape of the piston. There's the screen inside there. Sometimes you'll see those are burnt out. If the screen's ever burnt out, that means someone was running it way too lean, and chances are there's going to be some permanent damage inside it. So, okay, so that's the end of this. Okay, so I have it all apart. Kind of see the little reed assembly in there. I never pulled off the carburetor or anything, but that's the reed valve assembly. Piston seems to be in pretty decent shape, but there is a lot of play up in here. So hard to tell exactly if it's the rod or if it's the piston, or the piston pin I should say. You can see how tiny everything is. So it's not RC car tiny, which I pulled apart lots of RC car engines. The actual rest of the crank here, it's kind of hard to show you how tiny this truly is. You see the little brass washers there for your end play. Your seals. So these bearings are shot. That one there actually has, they both have the rings like that. But the seals here and the bearings are shot because it actually had play up and down on the flywheel. It's nice that it actually has bearings. I was hoping it just wasn't a crank like in the slider, or what's it called? I can't even think right now. But it actually has bearings on the crank, which is kind of good. So I'm not sure if I'll even be able to buy those again, bearings and seals. So you can see how the clutch works. It's a springless one-piece clutch, which I have seen before, so it's kind of cool. Anyone that has taken apart a go-kart clutch knows that normally you have springs and everything. This is just a one-piece style. So, oops, smack the piston there. Actual cylinder here, try to get a better shot of this. So there is a little bit of grooving in there, but nothing major. Still would have had pretty decent compression. You can see inside there where all the sludge builds up on the one side by the exhaust port and where the spark plug goes. You can see actually on top of the piston too, all the sludge built up. Just had to scratch my eye there for a second. Okay, so these are the little tiny, I'll actually dump them out of here. Well, there's one of them. Those are what holds the bottom end to the top end. You can see how tiny those suckers are. Little tiny little baby ones. I believe they were 1/4 inch, or not, yeah, 1/4. So, see, there's the carburetor setup. If you think of it, that's a pretty, like the carburetor is the size of the piston, which is pretty huge. So, you can see it's starting to wear through where the gas tank rubs on it. So, I'm not sure exactly how thick that is, but just deciding still if I want to fix this or if I want to just ditch it. So, the fact that it needs crank work means I probably will end up costing me probably $150 to fix this thing. So it's not even worth $150. The fact that the cases are all cracked up and everything like that. Oh, there goes another dirty fart. Thank God my microphone's not good enough to pick those up. So smacking the butterfly, that's always good for it. That's all worn out, the choke. The lever's just, that can always be hammered back. So pretty much now I'll just let you guys take a look at it, because chances are I'm not going to even try to ever get this thing running. I know it kind of sucks. Everyone wants to see an engine run. But when they're this bad and it's not really cost effective, it's just time to get rid of it. So maybe I'll part it out on eBay. If anyone's looking for parts, you can always message me. Spark plug wire is burnt and just pretty much destroyed. Clutch is in pretty decent shape by the looks of it still. Maybe I'll make that piston into a keychain. I've done a few keychains out of them. Okay, I got my camera propped up. I just decided I'll try to show you guys how bad this truly is. Can't really get it on video, but heard it there, but no. That's how much play is in it. And the actual bottom bearing is fine. It's all in the top. So I'm guessing it's just the piston itself where it's worn. Because I can almost see it. That the entire shaft moving up and down in there. There's no bearings in there, so hard to say. And man, is that a skinny little rod. Holy, would make a hell of a nice keychain. So, you know, for holding two keychains together or whatever. So, some part numbers on there. So the actual crank itself is good. These bearings here should be changed. And yes, just thought I'd show you how bad it truly is in the video. Okay, and I know some people would have hated me if I wouldn't have showed this reed assembly. So, a little bit loose up there, but you can't tighten it up. Just rivet it in with some rivets. No way to tighten those guys up, but yep, that's the reed assembly. I just blew through it, still works. Seal's good. So I just thought I'd throw that in the video. So a little reed assembly gasket. There we go. There's the part number. And the actual carburetor itself, 3880. Change the ratio on my camera here, see if I can get some better views. 28. Little baby carburetor, eh? Same size carburetors they use on weed whackers and almost any other chainsaw, so it's nothing too fancy. Just thought I'd throw that in the video at the very end. The rest of this, there's nothing fancy. Sweet. End of this.